Hey, Chirag, good morning. It's good to have you today. We'd like to start first to understand if you can share and throw some light on your campaign's spending and how these resources have been utilized. Its introduction contain. Hey, Chirag, very good morning. Good to have you with us today. For those who are joining us today and those who don't know you, would you like to share more about yourself and what are you up to? Thanks, Vikrant. So I would like to talk to the end people who really gets affected by all these policies that are made by our lawmakers. And I'm running for the state assembly. And one of my core reason I'm running for state assembly is because the policies which are done on the state level actually affects us at the ground level. And I can give you multiple examples of it. In our city, there was a law which was a voter approved law, which was uh, deleted from the municipal code by the text amendment. And we reached out to the lawmaker in the assembly, and they did not respond. So I think it's a good point to at least challenge them and ask this question to them on the live debate, if any of the news channel would be doing the debate. But I think that as a lawmaker, they should really respect the law. Otherwise, there is no reason for them to be in that place. Thank you so much, Chirag, for sharing intro about for yourself and what you are exactly planning on. But could you spend more time on sharing on your campaign uh, spending and how these resources have been utilized? So, while I think the campaign spending is a very important topic you brought up, because I have never seen anybody in a debate asking about a campaign finance. It's an incredibly important point because those people who fund your campaign actually govern how basically how you really run the entire show after you are elected. So that's why if you see a lot of the PACs would fund the campaign, and the PACs are basically designed with a ambition. And I have like stayed myself away from taking a huge PAC money. I think one of the other important aspect I want to cover is like how much you should really raise to run a campaign. And in my constituency, I have 516,000 people, out of which we have around 400,000 voters. While we get the entire database of voters, I have around 220,000 voters whose phone numbers we have in place. So I did an experiment with doing the text messaging. If I really reach out to all these voters once, it cost me around 3.5 cents through Good Party. It would cost me around $8,000. And if I decide to send them bunch of messages, like four or five, I don't want to send them too many messages and get blocked myself. So I would say four or five once a week is good enough to have one message a week. For the next 6 to 8 weeks, if I send out all those text messages, that's on the higher end. But now we have to also focus on super voters, likely voters, and voters who rarely vote, and first time voters. So if you break this down into different parties and different segments, then you can basically customize your message and do a much better outreach. Especially the super voters, you need to target them. You can target them more often than the other voters. So technically speaking, I do not think any campaign should be spending over $100,000 for this number of people. I can give you the entire math how that 100,000 comes in, because if you consider the household, we can send out letter to every household and we still be in that 100,000 range. Other important aspect I want to cover is a lot of this campaign finance. You listen about millions of dollars of raise, and in fact, the incumbent which I'm running against, her campaign finance, I
do not see how much it is raised. I see how it is spent, because that's what matters. Like you can have $1 million, but you only spend $100,000, right? Then we need to consider that 100,000 as a key point. And then when I looked into her campaign spending, I mean, I was like shocked. There are like flight tickets of business class flight ticket for the family, and put it as a campaign expense. And this is not once, this is multiple times. And hundreds of thousands of dollars have been spent that way. I do not know why should people fund those kind of campaign, lavish lifestyle of our leaders. That's something I really wanted to focus. Is that good enough, or you need more?
Yeah, no, absolutely, Chirag. And since you mentioned that you will be able to throw some light, and we would love to have more details so that we can share with our audience later after, once we are completing this interview. But you mentioned about affordability. You mentioned about how the consumption works, and this brought me on one of the very, accelerating challenges that we see across America, which is affordable housing. So, what are your plans?
So, on an average, if you see a place to rent in the assembly district I represent, it covers from Orinda to Livermore, includes cities like San Ramon, Danville, and average rent for a smallest apartment is in around $2,000. And this $2,000 is just a basic rent. There are other utilities and everything. If you see that way, a normal person cannot really live a life like that. If a teacher is there, like they get a very low salary, and if they cannot afford living in the city, they have to travel long distance. And one interesting point is like there are affordable housing being built and promoted as affordable housing. But when you really go into those affordable housing details, then you realize these are all really rental apartments, just as $100 $200 lower than regular apartment rent, and considered as a affordable housing. And there's another important is density bonus law, is a, which is mandated by the state. So suppose a developer basically builds 100 homes, they have to keep 15% of the homes at sell those 15% homes in an affordable rate. But what we have seen recently in the last few years since I'm watching this, that they are not really building this affordable, not selling at affordable rates, but they're moving this liability as an affordable rental, which is just as a regular rental. And in this, they're minting around millions of dollars. In one of the example in San Ramon, there are like 200 acres rezoning, and the applicant was not even 1% landowner, and other all applicants were marked as various other beneficiaries. And this larger organization like KB Homes, True Mark Builder are basically using shell companies to scam. And I brought this up to all of this representatives, state lawmakers, and assembly members. I just got some no response. So I want to fix the affordability at the core. Basically, if there are laws, just implement them. Don't just uh, let that get ignored. If there are laws are being broken, take action. That's what I will be doing as one of the job of my as an assembly member.
Thanks, Chirag. Thanks for throwing lights on your priority, but how you will actually deal those problems, because we have seen often that people do bring the problem that okay, these are the problems, but then they don't talk about the problem, how you actually solve those problems.
So one of the way we have to solve this is like affordable housing could only be possible if you really build affordable by design. We are not really building this smaller affordable condominiums, and this is why a lot of the cities are losing talent, and all these people are moving in suburb over suburbs. So if we really want to build an economy which works for us, we need to build the homes which are affordable by design. Okay, let me restart. So can you ask the question again?
Yeah, sure. I mean, you mentioned, problems. You mentioned the challenges that are there within the law, with the people that have been in the position. But we are here to talk about the solution. What you bring in.
So one of the solution we really need to do is like make sure that the developers are building affordable homes. The affordable home by design means like these are 500, 600, 700, or 1000 square feet homes. What we are seeing these days is we are building 3, 4 story townhomes at like almost 4, 5,000 square feet sold at $2 million. They're not really bringing the people that we need. We are losing the population. Our school enrollments are declining, and our teachers and our essential staff have to travel long distance. This is creating a larger environmental impact as well as a lot of frustration. And this could be easily solved by forcing the developer to make the condominiums, which would be very effective way of solving. And this is how we can bring back the economy, bring the businesses back. Since we don't have labor force, businesses are leaving. Like you can see, the larger organizations leaving this my assembly district. So I want to make that major change, and this could be encoded in laws that if there should be option looked into. Other important aspect is like CEQA violation, transportation should be easily possible. Right now, all these townhomes are forcing people to have cars because there's low density housing. We really need to keep the character of the city in place.
Thank you, Chirag, and we wish you good luck with all the challenges that you have mentioned, and we hope that we will see a better future for California 16 AD. And you mentioned two very important points while you are discovering the solution. You mentioned that young talented are moving. You mentioned about the school, the colleges. If you have a plan, if you have priorities within your campaign about how you will engage the young people, how you will engage the young talented that you have mentioned, the entrepreneurs, the bright mind that you mentioned are moving. What are what are your thoughts on it?
So one area of most important, I believe, is we are not really building the small business entrepreneurship because small businesses are the key entrepreneurs. We are not looking at them as a like I mean, there's entrepreneurship is dying every day these days. So small businesses are built on the relationship within the community, and that's why I started engaging all these youths. If you are aware of open governance initiative that I brought up since last year, and I engaged some 50 plus youths to come and speak in the city council meetings, share their opinion, and I never gave them any script. They build up the script based on the inputs they get from the community. What I really wanted to build is leadership within the community. That's why I started engaging these youths. These youths, I believe, will be our future leaders, can be our entrepreneur, can be our uh, elected official at some point in the life. But also the important point is they're thinking this out of the box rather than looking in the school syllabus. One important thing I learned in this experiment was the the kids who were taken the subject of AP governance. They did not know that the school board meetings are available for them, and they can basically get all the information and speak in the school board meetings. I mean, what kind of governance are we teaching if we are not teaching them that their own school has this level of uh, available information?
Yeah, I mean, you talk about the good governance part, which is one of the hot topic we are seeing all across. But we have been informed that you are not new to the politics. We have been told that you ran for mayor last year, and we would love to hear, but also how you see you as an independent candidate. Is it a challenging side, or how you actually came up with.
So when I decided to run as an independent, I had a A lot of people came and told me like, you should, are you Democrat or a Republican? Which party do you represent? I said, I'm independent. And it was like shock for many people because there is never an independent who have challenged assembly level, a partition position. All this school, like you mentioned, the mayor of San Ramon, it's a non-partition role. This is the first partition role that I'll be representing. And prior to running for the mayor, I never had any experience in politics, and I do not even consider this as a politics. I actually consider the when we use the word politics, we are making sure that it's a hard to digest word. So I rather say leadership, and that's where in all my ecosystem we do not use the word politics. So as an independent candidate, I have one really important advantage which not many people are seeing. I can go and knock a Democrat door, I can go and knock a Republican door, and I can knock anybody's door. So any high propensity voter, I can reach out. Other thing is 34% of people actually register themselves as non-party preference or other smaller parties rather than Democrat or Republican.
And that's a big number.
That's a huge number. That's a huge voting bloc. The only problem is that this voting bloc really don't vote in the primaries. So my job is to educate, and I think I can do that. I will put all my efforts in getting them, making sure they come out and vote in the primaries.
And if this happen, it will be a history.
Of course, if there's no independent candidate ever made through the primaries, when there is a Republican and Democrat. So yeah, we are here to create history. And if I get elected, that would be history made in California as well. There is never a independent representation in California from what I'm seeing for a really long time. Since 2014, there was a law passed in California which made the primaries like open to all. So the primaries are open in California. So even if you're registered as a Republican, you can vote for an independent or a Democrat. If you're registered Democrat, you can vote for any candidates.
So, Chirag, before we end this call, we would like to wish you very best for your campaign and for your upcoming primary election. But before we end, before we close this interview, would you like to share something which could be take away for people those who are watching?
So I consider myself as an unconventional person. So I did one experiment some time ago. Is like I sent out a text message to all the voters in my assembly district and made them aware that 62% of the elections are really going unchallenged in Bay Area. Like we consider Area as the most progressive area where Google and Apple and Meta, all this social media companies call them home. But here, the like 62% races go unchallenged. So I sent out a text message saying like, if you have 1% interest, I'll add another two zeros, and let's have a talk. Now we have six people running for different roles in the offices, and all of them are newcomer. They have never run for office, and this is really grassroots, which I think will help me as well as all these new people to challenge. And one of the most important role I really have is like a county clerk position, which would have gone unopposed. And the county clerk responsibility is to make sure they're engaging the voters to come and run for office. They're guiding people. If you go and file for office, they are the person who is going to guide you how to fill the forms. And if they are not taking interest in making sure these races are going unchallenged, I think there's an important thing that we need to do. And we have an option here this time.
Thank you, Chirag. Thank you for joining us. And we wish you again very good luck. And we also wish you for the momentum that you have created. And we hope that we'll be in touch with you soon.
Thank you.
देखा जाए कैसा हुआ